Okay, let's get right into it. If you're working with any kind of qualitative data, research, interviews, you've probably thought about using AI for transcription. It's a game changer. But there's this one critical and honestly super common misunderstanding about data privacy that we really need to clear up. I bet you've heard this one before. Maybe you've even said it yourself. It sounds so professional, right? So responsible and secure. It's the perfect line to put in your methods section or tell an ethics board. The only problem is, it's just not accurate. And look, this isn't about splitting hairs or being picky with words. Getting this wrong has some pretty big ethical and methodological consequences for your work. I mean, it seems like you should be able to, right? Just bleep out the names and you're good to go. But the truth is, it's way more complicated than that. So what actually makes it impossible to truly de-identify a raw audio file? Well, the big issue here is that a person's identity is literally woven into the fabric of their speech. It's not just about the obvious stuff we say, like our names or where we work. It's also in the unique stories we tell, the relationships we talk about, even the actual sound of our voice, our accent, our cadence, the way we pause. All of those things are identifiers. So here's the crucial mental shift we need to make. The goal isn't to pretend that we can eliminate every single risk, because, well, we can't. The real goal of using AI ethically is to look the risk straight in the eye, acknowledge it's there, and then have a solid, defensible plan to manage it responsibly. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Now what do we do about it? Let's walk through the solution, the proper, ethical way to handle this transcription workflow. The whole thing really breaks down into 3 key stages. First, you do what you can to minimize risk before you even upload a single file. Second, you go ahead and transcribe it, but you're fully aware that it is still identifiable data. And then third, and this is the big one, you do the actual de-identification after you have that written transcript. Let's dig into each of these. This first step, it's so important to be clear about what it is and what it isn't. The things you do before transcription are not de-identification. Remember, we just established that's impossible. This stage is all about risk mitigation. It's about reducing how much sensitive info you expose to the system in the first place. So what does that actually look like? Well, you can coach your participants to just use first names. As the interviewer, you can get in the habit of paraphrasing sensitive details on the fly. And, this is a big one, always use secure enterprise-level AI tools that your institution has approved, not the free ones you find on the web. All right, step 2, you've minimized the risk and you've uploaded your audio to a secure tool. While that AI is doing its magic, it is absolutely critical to remember the data is still completely 100% identifiable. The risk is very much live. And that means you have to treat it with the highest possible level of care. This is confidential data. It needs to be stored somewhere secure, with access locked down to only the people who absolutely need it. And whatever you do, please do not call this data anonymous, because it's not. Okay, now we get to the main event. Once that AI has kicked back a text file, this is the moment, the one and only moment where real, thorough de-identification can actually start. It happens with the text, not the audio. And the process itself is pretty methodical. You got to go through that text and swap out specific things like names and companies for generic tags. Generalize any specific dates or unique events that could point back to a person. If you make a key to track who participant 1 is, you have to store that key somewhere else, securely. And then, once you're sure you're done, you either lock up or, even better, delete that original identifiable transcript. But hold on, you're not quite at the finish line yet. There is one more vital step that ensures all that hard work actually paid off: the quality check. Let's be real, AI can mishear things, and we can miss things. So the best way to do this is to listen back to the original audio one last time while you read your newly de-identified transcript. See if anything slipped through. Do a quick find and replace search for common identifiers. And, if the data is super sensitive, get a second person to review your work. A fresh pair of eyes can be a lifesaver. So when you boil it all down, this whole thing comes down to one really simple but incredibly powerful distinction. This is probably the single most important takeaway of this entire explainer. On the left, we've got that common but wrong statement: the audio was de-identified before transcription. And on the right, you have the accurate, the ethical, the defensible scription. Audio was securely processed, then de-identified immediately after transcription. See the difference? It acknowledges the data was identifiable during processing and pinpoints exactly when the real work happened.
And I really want to hammer this home. This is not just about playing with words. This is about being honest about your methods. It's about ethically protecting the people who gave you their stories. And it's about making sure that if anyone ever questions your process, it is 100% defensible.
Ultimately, it just comes down to this. When we use these amazing, powerful AI tools in our work, especially with data from human beings, we're taking on an extra layer of responsibility. Being transparent and responsible isn't just a nice extra. It's a core part of the job. So next time you're prepping for an interview or writing up your methodology, just take a second to think about this. Now that you know the difference, ask yourself, is my process truly defensible?